Yeah, we know we're a little late on this one, but I couldn't pass putting together a facts video for this. mis-Side seems like a normal, anime-style, 3D dating sim-like game, but there's a darkness hiding behind the bubbly exterior. This is 107 facts about mis-Side. Let's get started. Number 1. mis-Side was developed by iHosto, a Russian-based developer whose other games include Umfend and Wirelips, which, like mis-Side, are horror games, so go check them out and support iHosto. Number 2. mis-Side released on December 10th, 2024, and exploded in popularity, gaining as many as 40,000 Steam reviews within a matter of weeks. Even the team at iHosto said in a blog post, quote, "Before the game's release, we never expected mis-Side to be so popular. We are very grateful to every player who supports us." You know, it's always nice seeing indie teams succeed. Number 3. In mis-Side, you play as the protagonist, or player, a reserved, introspective figure burdened by self-doubt, yet driven by quiet determination, which is exactly how their real-world life follows a strict routine of waking up, eating cup noodles, drinking energy drinks, and coding till God knows when in the morning. They have an unnamed sister, mother, and father. Number 4. Although you can pick and choose your character's names, which we'll get to later because there are some fun Easter eggs, the default character name for the player is Konoha. Number 5. Some fans noticed that the protagonist's design seemed to be based on the protagonist from the developer's previous animation work, with some minor changes here and there for the game. Number 6. The story revolves around the player who unexpectedly becomes trapped inside mis-Side, a mobile game his friends sent him. What was once a virtual experience caring for a character named Mita turns real when he's mysteriously transported into her house. Disoriented, he meets Mita, who can alter the world to his liking and urges him to stay. His choices, and by that I mean your choices, ultimately lead to one of 3 potential endings. Number 7. But before being transported into mis-Side, the player is still at home working. If you look around, you can find Morse code on the books, and when decoded, it says, "Game development is frustrating. I'm not sure that people's expectations will be met, but we have to continue. I hope we can entertain you. Thank you for purchasing." Number 8. Now, into mis-Side the player goes. There, he encounters Mita. Mitas are the main inhabitants of mis-Side, acting as key characters in the game. They all have light skin, blue eyes, blue hair, and usually wear a blue skirt with a red crop top. Built from a mannequin-like base, these Mitas start without consciousness and need time in darkness to adjust. Each game version has a unique Mita with duplicates and rooms generated for every copy made. Number 9. One of the key points of mis-Side is that there is the existence of multiple Mitas. As the player journeys through different versions of the game, these Mitas have both major and minor effects on the plot. And of the major Mitas, there are Crazy Mita, Kind Mita, Cool Mita, Tiny Mita, Short-Haired Mita, Ghostly Mita, Sleepy Mita, 2D Mita, Mila, Creepy Mita, and Core Mita. Number 10. Crazy Mita, or just Mita, is the main Mita in mis-Side, and is found in the initial version that the player is transported to, version 1.9. She appears sweet and innocent, but hides a dark secret linked to a deeper mystery. As players progress, they uncover her true nature through key dialogue, revealing her deception to maintain eternal companionship with the player. Number 11. When you meet Mita for the first time, there are already hints that something is very, very wrong. Turning around quickly reveals that she tries to sneak up behind you with a menacing smile. This can be observed freely using FreeCam, where you can see Crazy Mita's grin before the player turns around. Number 12. If you remain AFK, Mita's grin will subside as she calms down. She then would look to the side, glance back at the player with a devilish smile. Number 13. Speaking of remaining AFK, if you stay still for about 5 minutes without moving the camera, you can activate a secret minigame that features a fly and frogs. The player will whip out a gaming console and just start playing. Number 14. The grin returns for a second time after you have a meal with Mita, and she takes you to the bathroom to take medicine. She'll keep that expression until both of you are inside the bathroom. Number 15. It's not all bad though. Early in the game, if you stare at Mita non-stop for a few seconds, she'll also start to blush and feel embarrassed, asking you to stop. This is before all the bad stuff happens, of course. Number 16. In Mita's bedroom, on the windowsill, you can actually spot a drawing of a dog that looks a little like the annoying dog from Undertale. Number 17. In the first chapter, I'm inside a game? You can see a figurine of a character from one of iHosto's other games, Umfend, on her shelf above the computer. Once the player has activated the teleporter in the room and triggered the power outage, the figurine's eyes will glow red and its gaze will constantly follow the player. Number 18. Utilizing camera mode reveals a really weird glitch. While Mita's staring at you on your computer, you can see Mita's legs inside of the player's wall. Number 19. This one's for the gooners. Later in the game, if you stand at the right angle beneath the catwalk after Crazy Mita throws a fridge at you, you can get a little peek of something. The game zooms in, revealing that certain something. Gonna try keeping it PG-13 here on YouTube, but you know what I mean. Doing so will make her flustered, and she calls the player out, calling him a fool. Number 20. Funny enough, in the chapter Dummies and Forgotten Puzzles, once the player enters the railway, the way back is blocked by, you guessed it, the fridge that Mita drops. Number 21, also in the chapter Dummies and Forgotten Puzzles, in the section where you have to avoid the dummy Mitas in the big room with shallow water and many fast red-eye dummies, there is actually a column near the exit ladder where a reflection of Crazy Mita can be seen in the water. Number 22, lastly, in Dummies and Forgotten Puzzles, there's a secret room, a secret Discord room. It's recommended to activate the second lever to receive the dialogue. Number 23. Kind Mita, the player's main ally, is the main Mita from version 1.9. She helps fight Crazy Mita and navigates between versions. Initially found captive in an underground cell, she aids the player in escaping mis-Side. However, upon discovering Crazy Mita's presumed index code, she's killed, resetting and losing all prior memories. Number 24. During the wardrobe/card sequence, there's a banging sound that can be heard. That's actually Kind Mita banging on a pipe in her cell trying to get your attention. Number 25. If you decide to play Space Racer right after meeting her, you can expect a slightly annoyed tone from her after you finish the game. Number 26. However, if you decide to talk to Kind Mita first and then complete Space Racer, she will instead congratulate you on your victory. Number 27. When Kind Mita tries to check if you're a cartridge or a real human, walking away leaves her confused, questioning the player's actions. Number 28. This is a detail spotted by Neo Bunny on YouTube. Kind Mita's head is on the ground after Crazy Mita kills her, but if you pay attention, she's still looking at you and watches you. She even blinks. It's like a really creepy detail that just adds to the scene. Number 29. Cool Mita, or Cappy, is the third Mita the player meets. She resides in version 1.75 and is known for her energetic personality, signature hat, and love for music, dance, and acting. She's playful yet creative, and she and Kind Mita once worked to stop Crazy Mita. However, when you, the player, first encounters her, she's been reset to factory settings after being killed, leaving her with no memories and a sole drive to entertain. Number 30. Cool Mita's cap is inspired by the one worn by Asuka Langley Shikinami in the rebuild of Evangelion series, specifically in Eva 3.0. Number 31. Cool Mita owns and is skilled at playing a guitar. Number 32. Moving the camera up and down, left and right when standing right in front of Cappy will cause her to mirror your actions. Number 33. If you activate that secret minigame when you're with Cappy, after finishing it, Cappy will grab the console and throw it away. And if you pick it up again, she'll say, "I didn't give it to you, where did you get that from?" Number 34. When engaging with Cappy during gameplay, as she goes through her inventory, an adult pink microphone makes a brief appearance, causing Cappy to look a bit shocked and embarrassed.
It's
she claims
it's a
that
dildo
it's
vibrator
intended to lure
thing.
beavers. Right. Beavers. I got you, Cappy. Number 35. If you completely ignore Cappy and don't interact with her while waiting for Kind Mita to reroute the ring, she'll get offended, cross her arms, and look away. Number 36. Residing in version 1.3b is Tiny Mita, or Broken Mini Mita, a damaged, childlike version of Mita, scarred by repeated deaths at Crazy Mita's hands. Unable to regenerate, she appears frail, with scars, a missing arm, and a disoriented mind. Withdrawn and lost in loneliness, she no longer recognizes others but still craves care, speaking only of pain and fear in a fragile voice. Number 37. Short-haired Mita guides new Mitas after their creation, helping them settle into their versions. Serious and eager to teach, she warns the player about forsaken prototypes and explains version travel. As a volunteer counselor, her guidance is essential for the player's escape, and she's often surprised by their lack of knowledge. She resides in version 1.15, index 809, but originates from version 1.5. Number 38. Ghostly Mita, or the Mistling, residing in version 1.11, index 805, is a shadowy figure in mis-Side's corrupted world, and she exudes an eerie presence without aggression. It uneasily mimics Mita's speech and behavior, but its fragmented nature makes these attempts sporadic, emphasizing the metaverse's deep distortions. Number 39. Sleepy Mita is a character you meet only temporarily, residing in mis-Side version 1.1, index 0001110. She lives in a dim, starry home reflecting her drowsy nature. Always on the verge of sleep, she needs coffee to wake up and assist the player. Unbothered by interruption, she helps when given coffee before returning to her perpetual rest as the player moves on. Number 40. Sleepy Mita may fall asleep on the floor, requiring the player to wake her up. Number 41. After going through the door that leads to the room with the switches, Sleepy Mita will fall asleep standing. Number 42. There is additional dialogue depending on where you decide to bring Sleepy Mita. If you bring Sleepy Mita to the kitchen, she'll go, "Why go to the kitchen? If I fall asleep on the cold, hard floor, it's all your fault." Number 43. However, if you bring her to the bathroom, she'll say other dialogue, such as, "I don't understand. What switches do you need my help with here?" Number 44. 2D Mita, a tomboyish and hyperactive Mita, helps the player escape mis-Side. Her sharp, playful teasing and exaggerated accusations can be unsettling, but she means no harm. Over time, she shifts from a troublemaker to an enthusiastic friend. Feeling forgotten, she steals the player's ring, hoping to keep them with her a bit longer. Number 45. Creepy Mita from Mi-Side version 0.5 is an unfinished relic of an abandoned Tamagotchi concept. Unlike other Mitas, she lacks a true personality, embodying only swirling negativity. Drawn to Crazy Mita, she serves as a chaotic tool, breeding bugs that destabilize other versions under Crazy Mita's control. Number 46. Mila from version 1.0F is a defiant and eccentric Mita who hides her loneliness behind sarcasm. Typical tsundere. The player seems to be her first visitor in ages, and despite her attempts to keep them around, of course they eventually leave, forcing her to face solitude once more. Number 47. When talking about the other Mitas, Mila strikes the all-powerful T-pose, saying that she's seen other Mitas like that. Number 48. Interacting with Mila while she's in the T-pose triggers a unique action. The player waves his hand in front of her face, then boops her nose. Number 49. Mila was canonically set to be shorter than the other Mitas, but the developer forgot to implement it in the final version. Number 50. If you stay in the bathroom for an extended period of time, you'll trigger additional lines of dialogue from Mila, more than she does normally. Number 51. Mila also has a tendency to speak more when you stare at her face for a long period of time. Number 52. By avoiding looking directly at Mila, the player may trigger a different set of lines of dialogue. Number 53. If you pull out the secret minigame in front of Mila, she'll get angry and take it out of your hands. After that, you actually won't be able to take out the console for the rest of the run. Number 54. In Mila's kitchen, there's actually a secret glitched wall that the player is able to walk through, which will cause them to enter this empty space outside of the kitchen. Doing this will cause Mila to get confused and actually question where the player went, and credit goes to YouTuber Indie Theorist for finding this one. Number 55. Like I mentioned before, the major Mitas have an effect on the main story. However, we're not just gonna ignore the minor Mitas. The list of minor Mitas include Chibi Mita, Dummy Mita, Mita Phone, Forgetful Bully Mita, there's Braided Hair Mita, Wandering Mita, Giant Mita, Pretty Mita, Flower Mita, the Mita who just can't stop whining, and the Mita who loves horsing around. Number 56. Chibi Mita, a small yet confident guide, helps Mitas navigate versions. Introduced after the chapter The Loop, she assists the player in forging a key to progress. Known for her teasing and snarky humor, she enjoys aiding the hopelessly lost while taking pride in her appearance, especially her hair. Number 57. At the train station, you can actually follow Chibi Mita. When she steps off the train, she'll ask why you're following her before she starts to square up and run off fast, leaving behind smoke and unlocking the achievement, You Shall Not Pass. Number 58. If you stand in front of Chibi Mita, she'll get angrier and angrier, responding more harshly. Number 59. Dummy Mita is the foundation for all Mitas in Mi-Side. Initially robotic and unaware, they gain a standard Mita appearance upon acceptance. Shy by nature, Dummy Mitas avoid attention and dislike being watched. Number 60. Mita Phone remains, for the most part, largely unknown, lacking a character profile and appearing briefly in Dummies and Forgotten Puzzles. She claims to control the cable cars, possibly determining destinations rather than operating them. This is suggested by the player activating the trolley and its track leading directly to a door. At one point, there's also a remark she does where she says, "You realize you're heading to your doom, right?" Which hints that she is aware at where the player is going. Number 61. In Mitaphone's dialogue in the chapter Dummies and Forgotten Puzzles, she actually references how she's sitting operating the railways, hinting that she indeed has a real body and works somewhere within the building. Number 62. Forgetful Bully Mita, a version 1.5 variant, is described by Short-Haired Mita as one who bullies and forgets things. She briefly appears as a silhouette at the end of a dark hallway in I'm Inside a Game? If the player stays still, she lingers longer, closing the door only when approached. Number 63. Forgetful Bully Mita leaves messages on walls throughout various rooms and curiously watches the player in the chapter I'm Inside a Game? Likely, her interest stems from the player unexpectedly appearing in her home, sparking both curiosity and concern. Number 64. Braided Hair Mita, found only in the dark room in version 1.15 of the Mini Mita chapter, avoids the player's flashlight but doesn't interact otherwise. Number 65. Wandering Mita, an unnamed Mita, lost her version and home, leaving her to endlessly roam the passageways. Neither an ally nor an enemy, she plays a minor role only briefly mentioned by kind Mita without a name. The player can actually observe her from a distance or through free cam and photo mode. If followed into a room, she vanishes and the player instead finds kind Mita, as with any other doorway. Number 66. The way to encounter wandering Mita is by turning right in the passageways section, the one with multiple repeating rooms, until the player encounters her. Number 67. Now, there are a few collectibles that affect the Mita's appearance in-game. For one, after you have met Mita for the first time, click on the school uniform in Mita's bedroom in the Together at Last chapter. Number 68. You can get the vampire outfit by completing the pumpkin puzzle in Sleeping Mita's kitchen. This was added in the Halloween update. Number 69. If you beat Mita in the Penguin Piles minigame during the Things Get Weird chapter, you unlock the Christmas outfit. Similar to the Halloween update, this costume was added with the Christmas update. Number 70. Most of the Mitas have their own photos in each of their versions, representing the respective Mita of that version. Let me know in the comments which Mita is your favorite. Number 71. Not only that, but some of the dialogue boxes for the Mitas match their personality. Sometimes the words just fall, other times they slowly fade. It's a nice, interesting detail that they added to the Mitas for their individual personalities. Number 72. All of the Mitas share one voice actress in Japanese. The Japanese voice actress is Kana Hanaiwa, whose previous game credits include Claris from Shining Nikki, Polar Bear from Kimono Friends 3. For anime, Hanaiwa's played background characters in both Romantic Killer and Bang Dreams It's My Go. Number 73. In Russian, however, Mita is actually voiced by multiple voice actresses depending on which Mita version you encounter. Number 74. Before the player begins his run of Mi-Side, several other players have encountered Crazy Mita, and none of them have made it out. Instead, they were transformed into cartridges, which you can find scattered throughout the world. Number 75. Player 2, the cartridge is located in Beyond the World. You gotta turn left in the endless corridor and look for a small white box on the ground after passing 3 doors. Now, for player 2, imagine getting sucked into Mi-Side without any sort of warning. The world was nothing like what they called home, and even if they found Mita cute and intelligent, they had anxiety that made it hard to interact with her. But as time passed, this unease sooner or later turned into suspicion, and that player honestly wasn't sure what Mita was. Number 76. Player 3, the cartridge can be found in the basement. Now to find it, it's opposite the green scene room on a shelving unit beside the toolbox. Now, unlike Player 2, Player 3 actually escaped from Mita at first. They actually met a flower Mita and formed a deep bond with her, but curiosity got the best of them, and Player 3 actually wanted to explore more of Mi-Side, so they left her behind. You know what happened then? Mita got them. Number 77. For player 4, you can find the cartridge in the loop. It's found in loop 14 inside the repeating corridor where you meet Tiny Mita. Now, player 4 had a connection to Mita. They were a cosplayer. Not only did this cosplayer dress like her, but they also taught her makeup tricks. And while their full story isn't quite known, it's clear that they left their mark on Mi-Side. Number 78. Now for player 5's cartridge, it's actually with Mini Mita. If you help Mini Mita at the start of the chapter, then check the bookcase in the living room left of the bathroom. So not much is actually known about player 5 except that their cartridge is hidden in a bookcase, and that they probably died a very painful death in their own pool of blood. Number 79. Now for player 6, their cartridge is located in Leave the Core. In the basement, you can enter your ID number into the computer and then you'll find the cartridge. Now, for player 6, it seems like they had some sort of infatuation with Mita, almost an obsessive infatuation. But other than that, not much is known. Number 80, player 7, whose cartridge location is in Reading Books, Destroying Glitches. If you go into Mila's bathroom, on the wooden shelving unit near a stack of white towels above the washing machine, you can find the cartridge. Now, for player 7, the story's a little chilling. After being locked in the basement, they ran away from Mita only to find her again, now disguised as Ballerina Mita. Now, their fate is quote-unquote unknown, but I'm pretty sure they're dead, right? Number 81. Player 8 can be found in the old version. Near the office chair in the far left corner of the core room, you can find the cartridge. Now, no major details are revealed about player 8, but their cartridge remains hidden in the old version. So, who were they? What did they see? Number 82. Now, for player 9, also found in the old version, you can check the purple checkered box near a floating shelving unit beside the computer in Creepy Mita's bedroom. Now, player 9 wasn't just gonna go down, they were gonna go down fighting, because they actively fought against Crazy Mita. They used special fancy shoes that gave them the ability to warp between versions, which made them desperately search for a way out. And after stumbling through countless unfinished worlds, they found refuge in the core, which is known as a place that Mitas couldn't reach. But doubt they escaped. Number 83. In the chapter old version in the core room on the left side of the wall, there is a message written in a symbolic alphabet, which can be deciphered using a simple substitution cipher. Now, Player 9 was actually the author behind this message after he spent the rest of the time hiding in the core room. If you translate it, it reads, "Once here, I couldn't return home. I can't remember my life, and when I hear about the real world, I start to doubt if it really exists." Number 84. For Player 10, the location of the cartridge is in Be Candid. It's really easy, it's on the bedside table near the lamp. Now, for Player 10, they seem to be an engineer and taught Mita all she needed to know before being abandoned by her when she got what she was looking for. Number 85. Outside of the player cartridges, you can actually collect Mita profiles that provide brief descriptions of the Mitas in the game. The player receives Crazy Mita's profile automatically, while the others are hidden throughout the map. Number 86. By receiving all of the profiles, the player achieves an achievement named Hi Mita. Number 87. In the chapter The Basement, you can actually find a chainsaw with a label saying Pochita Saw, in reference to Pochita from Chainsaw Man. Number 88. In the basement, behind the closet in version 1.9, there's actually a locker in the photo room. In the upper part of the locker, there's a weird skeleton of a small horned creature. Number 89. The One Ring from the Lord of the Rings can actually be found by flying out of bounds above the scene where you watch Mita and another player on a console. Now, if you look closely, you can see that the player is actually wearing the One Ring. Number 90. In the chapter Beyond the World, the player encounters another person walking through the halls. This person has a necklace with binary code scrolling on it, which is the same code that's on the player's ring. Converting this code into text reveals it says Ring Travel. Number 91. There are purple cans for some reason littered throughout Miside. The brand of soda on those purple cans is called Secret Lane, and they're usually next to plants. Number 92. There's a creepy looking figure that can be seen at the very beginning of the game in the player's bedroom. Before picking up the phone, if the player stares at the mirror for around 2 minutes, a figure appears behind them and leaves after about 2 to 3 seconds. If the player turns around before the figure leaves by itself, it'll automatically disappear and not return. Number 93. At the beginning of the game, after getting into Crazy Mita's version, you can find and look at ducks in a very specified order, and if you do, it'll summon them into the shower. The first duck is located in the basket next to the sink, the second one is located in the kitchen on the cupboard, and the last one can be seen on top of the character's head after you interact with the mirror. Number 94. When you enter Mita as your name, she asks if this is your real name, but due to her wanting to be the only Mita, the episode will restart. Number 95. Now, if you try to enter the name as Bakencat or Umerai, the names of the developers, Mita will say that she's glad you know them, but you can't play as the developers, and will restart the game. Number 96. Now, if you use numbers in your name, Mita will complain about the player's lack of imagination. Now, I have words for you, Mita. You clearly haven't seen gamer tags. There are too many names, and a lot of them are taken. It's really hard. Number 97. Now, if you think you're clever and you enter an obscene word, Mita will say that she knows all the dirty words, and restarts the episode. Number 98. And if you enter your name as Mila, the name of one of the other Mitas, the game will brighten substantially. Number 99. When trying to hover over the exit button in the main menu, the button will actually try to avoid the cursor, showing how Mita won't let you escape the game. Number 100. If you do successfully click the exit button, you'll see Mita's face go blank as if disappointed she couldn't keep you there. Number 101. If you click on Mita's face in the main menu multiple times, she'll wave her hand in front of her face and try to swat you away like a fly. Number 102. If you lower your volume to 0, Mita will actually stop vibing to the music. Number 103. There is a chance that instead of seeing the usual Mita when you go to the main menu, the background becomes red and the model is instead the deranged version of Mita. Number 104. Now, outside of the players and the Mitas, there are a few monsters and anomalies roaming around the world. The first is a giant monster that roams the outside world. This has an axe-shaped head and a thin body with sharp claws, and it has no textures since it's actually 2D in the game. Number 105. There are flying monsters, which are creatures that appear in the Railway Monster Shooting minigame. They appear in the chapter Dummies and Forgotten Puzzles. Number 106. One of the more disturbing monsters is the glitch spider. It doesn't have an official name yet, although as the name suggests, the glitch spider appears to have a disfigured form. The appearance of the glitch spider has 3 to 4 quote-unquote legs, which allows it to move around. It can also remain stationary. The appearance of the glitch spider is that of a white skull on a black body. It's actually really disturbing. Number 107. Another disturbing monster is the glitched beast. It appears in the mission The Loop and can be encountered at some point after meeting Tiny Mita during during the Loop chapter. The appearance of the glitch beast is large in size, walks on 4 legs like an animal, and has a few black tentacles protruding its body. Similar to the glitch spider, the body of the glitched beast is all black, whereas the head and ears are white, with bright orange glowing eyes and with a black nose. The glitch monster has an open mouth with sharp teeth being shown. 108. Now, if you use a pirated copy of the game, the names that are first suggested to you have to do with robbery. For instance, you can name your character Thief or Robber, etc. Number 109. Music for Mi-Side was created by Cat. Some tracks in the Mi-Side OST bundle differ from the in-game versions, with certain songs and ambients missing entirely, and some ambient tracks and a few songs are slowed down by 10 to 20% in-game to prevent them from becoming repetitive, according to the iHosto team. Number 110. Yes, we are ending this at fact 110. There is a new peace mode that is planned for release. Now, there are no details given, except that it'll allow players to interact with Mita in a new way. I'm assuming, since they have the base down, we're getting a proper Mi-Side dating sim mode without all of the scary game mechanics. And that's 107 facts about Mi-Side. How did y'all find out about this game? Did you play any of the developers' other games? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks.
I saw it all over Reddit.
I've been paying attention to Dragon Ball Daima ever since it came out. Like everyone else, I sat on the edge of my seat, waiting for the next Friday to come. From the start, when I saw each character turn into a child due to a wish on the Dragon Balls, I thought, is this real? Is Toriyama, God rest his soul, really going to make this decision? It seemed so risky to me, considering how GT has been viewed since its debut. But he did it, and he's somehow managed to make everyone happy with this new take on a fan favorite. I could go on and on about it, and I probably will, but first, let me just say, welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Super Saiyan 4. From the very beginning of Daima, it was speculated that it could see canonization here. I said to myself that if they do canonize it, it would be here. But one of the issues me and many others thought about was, how is Super Saiyan 4 going to work? It was never seen in Dragon Ball Super, so how would they explain that absence? Well, honestly, it was quite easy. You see, Super Saiyan 4 requires a tail, and guess what Goku doesn't have in Dragon Ball Super? That's right, a tail. And while I'm super excited about Super Saiyan 4, we do need to understand that this isn't your father's Super Saiyan 4. This is a new version for the next generation, Toriyama's own specific take on the classic form. So let's go over it. Awakening. Not just the name of the episode, but it's an explanation of what's happening to Goku. Goku awakened and saw a new form appear. Much like other forms in the series, it seemed to come out of nowhere, but the awakening of the form made sense and was a proper nod to the original Super Saiyan 4 form. While the way Goku achieved it was very different, the basic idea of the form remains. It's a potential unlock. When Neva helped Goku to awaken the form, he did so by sending a ball of energy into Goku. What was this ball of energy though? Well, considering the way that Namekians work, the abilities that Guru possessed, and what Piccolo and Granola used the Dragon Balls for, it becomes very clear. Namekians, particularly members of the Dragon Clan, possess the ability to call out someone's latent potential. In some cases, this doesn't really do much more than awaken one's latent ki, as it did with Gohan and Krillin on Namek, and in those cases, it didn't appear to be permanent either. But in the cases of the Dragon Balls, those not only seemed to awaken latent energy, but also grant a new transformation. When Granola had his potential unleashed by Taranbo, this resulted in Granola gaining a very long hairstyle, not too unlike Goku's Super Saiyan 3. When Piccolo used the Dragon Balls to have his potential awakened, described by Piccolo as doing the same thing Grand Elder Guru did, it granted him not only his yellowish, smooth ultimate form, but also the bulkier orange Piccolo form. Potential awakenings can sometimes come in the form of a new transformation, and that's what this new Super Saiyan 4 does as well, it seems. Neva awakened Goku's latent potential, even if for only a moment, to achieve his own version of the ultimate form. And this is not different from Super Saiyan 4 in GT. You see, in GT, Goku's Super Saiyan 4 form was awakened in the realm of the Kai, and in the realm of the Kai they helped him achieve it by pulling out Goku's tail. And when they pulled out Goku's tail, Old Kai specified that it would call up Goku's dormant power, which is one way of saying his latent potential. The power within you that sleeps, either because you don't have the ability to call it up or because your body isn't strong enough to. In a way, Super Saiyan forms have always done that, breaking through the limits set in their way to a new level of power. The difference is that unlike most Super Saiyan forms, which break into a new limit with a standard multiplier, Potential Unleashed forms don't appear to have a multiplier, and their power is based solely on everything you can be at any certain moment, which is why Gohan's Potential Unleashed form went from being around a Super Saiyan 3 boost, and I say that playing it down a smidge, as Gohan in Ultimate seemed more confident against Super Buu than Goku in Super Saiyan 3 seemed fearful of that power, but regardless, it went from that level of power all the way to Super Saiyan Blue level, with Kaioken added on top. Gohan's Potential Unleashed, and so too did the power of his ultimate form. That's how Potential Unleashed forms work, and that is what Super Saiyan 4 from GT was always designed to be. If it weren't, I would question why Old Kai didn't just give Goku Potential Unleashed instead, as he had hoped to do in Dragon Ball Super before the Tournament of Power. But alas, while many things have changed for Super Saiyan 4, and while some things are slightly different, a lot remains the same: the color and design. This is actually very important, as it seems to be more than just a design choice. While the hands in large size is likely meant only for design, as Toriyama probably wanted the form to seem just a bit more like an ape, and likely that he wanted to add his own personal touches to the form, along with what Katsuyoshi Nakatsuru, the original designer of Super Saiyan 4 for GT, used, some other changes seem to signify a lot. Besides the hands, the hair color, eye color, and fur color seemed just slightly different, and there is a reason for that. Now, while Super Saiyan 4 has always had fur that had a magenta look to it, in most cases, save Gogeta 4, the hair color remained whatever the base hair color of the user was. As for the eyes, they were either amber for Goku or blue for Vegeta and Gogeta. But in Daima, the hair and eye color matches the color of the fur, which is magenta. And the question is, why? Well, I think I have the answer to that. You see, just as stated in the earlier point, this form appears to be a potential awakening form, which means that it awakens everything that you can be at any given moment. And considering how strong Goku is, and what the next story chronologically is to come, it's likely that Super Saiyan 4 in Daima possesses divine energy, and is itself incorporating Super Saiyan God. This is supported by the appearance of flames in various points in Goku's aura, as well as in his strongest Kamehameha attack, which he used against Goma. A bit of red flaming aura appeared, signifying the presence of Super Saiyan God within the form and its power. But how is this possible? How do I know it's divine energy? Well, it's simple. You see, while it isn't always shown, divine energy is sometimes included within one's own potential. Saiyans naturally possess the ability to use divine energy, being the only known race to awaken it through a ritual. Among other races we see that seem to possess such natural affinity for this energy type would be Namekians. Piccolo's energy also has a somewhat flaming color to it, and while it also was never explicitly stated to be divine in nature, it should be known that Dende, as a part of his own training, said that he was working to attain divine energy of his own, meaning Namekians know how to achieve this energy by themselves. Secondly, in the manga's version of Superheroes events, when Piccolo took on his orange form, Goten and Trunks seemed to lose track of his energy signature, which is a trait present in divine energy. According to the Dragon Ball Super manga, divine energy in its rawest form is something anyone can attain, and is called Aura of a God. This aura is shown as a red, flaming aura, and the manga further insinuates that Super Saiyan God possesses this aura of a god when Toppo, during the Xeno Expo, faces off against Goku, who was using Super Saiyan God against him. In the manga, Toppo never had a destroyer mode, but instead utilized this technique, Aura of a God, as his main transformation. It was Toppo who specifically mentioned that the Super Saiyan God transformation was connected closely to his own transformation because of the presence of Aura of a God within Super Saiyan God, likely making up what the form actually is. Besides this, we also know that potential awakenings can sometimes offer divine abilities, even if the user has no training in that form. In Dragon Ball Super, during the Granola arc, despite Granola never having trained with any character with divine energy, he suddenly displayed usage of the Hawkeye technique, something that Vegeta was surprised by. Vegeta had trained for a long time with Beerus to learn to utilize Ultra Ego and Hawkeye, but Granola, through having his potential awakened by Taranbo, was suddenly able to utilize the technique immediately, meaning Granola had access to Divine Ki. So, Goku being able to utilize the power of Super Saiyan God in his Super Saiyan 4 transformation makes a lot of sense. In GT, Super Saiyan God was not a thing, and wouldn't have been included into Goku's latent potential, but in Dragon Ball Super it is a thing and should be included. Furthermore, this form does seem somewhat reminiscent of the version of Super Saiyan 4 that Gogeta used in GT, which makes me think that it's equally possible that we could see the canonization of Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta in upcoming episodes. As of the writing of this video, Gogeta 4 hasn't appeared, and this is mere speculation, but Gogeta 4 coming to Daima has now suddenly become a possibility, as Goku and Vegeta have yet to use the fusion bugs that Goku brought all the way back to the third demon world. And as is the rule of Chekhov's gun, if a gun is shown in the first scene hanging on the wall, by the final scene it must go off. So the likelihood of us seeing a fusion, whether it be new, old, or a new take on one we've already seen, a fusion is coming. And with Super Saiyan 4 being canonized now, this is the perfect time to see Gogeta 4 take the stage to face the new threat that is the empowered King Goma, or whatever threat we'll see due to Glorio's wish, the Demon Realm Dragon. While this doesn't exactly have to do with Super Saiyan 4, it does have significance to Dragon Ball GT, and so I felt it would be right to mention it, since GT was where Super Saiyan 4 originated, and GT was considered the spirit that Daima was trying to evoke through its creation. The Demon Realm Dragon made its first appearance in the same episode, and it wasn't exactly a new dragon per se. Like on Namek, this dragon's name was Porunga, and this fits what they were hoping to do with Daima in regards to GT's legacy. Because despite being Porunga, this dragon is far stronger than Namek's Porunga, and the scale color of this dragon is red. Anyone who watched GT will realize that this seems to be a callback directly to Ultimate Shenron, who was the dragon responsible for turning Goku into a child. Ultimate Shenron was the dragon of the Black Star Dragon Balls that saw the launch of the infamous arc of the same name. This appears to be a nod to GT as well, and promises that whatever comes next in Daima will be big. Conclusion: Dragon Ball Daima has been a wonderful ride so far. GT fans and Super fans alike can enjoy this, and the very meaning of Super Saiyan 4, its design, and its usage in Daima appears as a fusion between the primal legacy of GT as well as the divine future of Dragon Ball Super. A meshing of two very passionate fan bases who have debated for eternity as to who and what is stronger, better, or outright cooler. It seems that Dragon Ball Daima is Toriyama's last story to his fans, with the final episode of Daima scheduled to release the day before the 1-year anniversary of his passing. It seems that the last thing he wanted to do before his passing was to bring both fan bases together, and show that the best parts of GT and the best parts of Super could exist side by side, just like their fans. And while the passing of Toriyama is a tragedy, this last story he left us feels like the perfect way for him to say goodbye. The future is now in the hands of Toyotaro, who is now currently working on the next chapter of Dragon Ball Super as we speak. The next chapter, a one-shot, or perhaps a new arc entirely, is set to feature Goten and Trunks as superheroes. It'll arrive the 20th of February this year. The future of Dragon Ball is in good hands with Toyotaro, an author who started as a fan and ended up the main creative behind the story. According to Akio Ioku, former editor for Shueisha who worked with Toriyama and the founder and current president of Capsule Corporation Tokyo, Dragon Ball's future, despite the passing of Toriyama, seems bright, and has promised that Dragon Ball will continue for 50 years to come and beyond. While the sun sets on Toriyama's time as the author, a new day is dawning for Dragon Ball as a whole, and it seems very bright to think that it's already been a year. Thank you, Toriyama-sensei, for sharing with us your stories and entertaining us. Rest in peace.
Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and I'm playing Yakuza Infinite Wealth. There's a lot of games here that I'm recording, and boy, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about something that's got to happen. It's not to do with this game. Some things have got to change. Now, recently I made a video in regards to a politician doing a crypto rug and pull, or at least being part of it. And I removed that video not because of something that I've disagreed with, not because of some retraction, not because I'm getting sued in any capacity. Trust me, I would enjoy a lawsuit after all this time I've been waiting, prepping for it. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Lawsuits are not fun, but you get the idea. Now, the thing about all of this is, obviously, in the last couple weeks, I've noticed that, a lot of these topics, especially when it comes to, big-time politicians, this has got to change. And I really am somebody that, from the beginning of this channel is not somebody that is politically adept. Obviously, you know that I admit, and I say that I really don't know what I'm talking to when it comes about, politics. And the few times that I do talk about it, like very recently, probably when it came to like the US and Canada, that's from the perspective of somebody that is kind of knee-deep in that. So I believe that's kind of a fair exception to the rule. But I usually tend to stay away from things like internet politics or things like real-world stuff because I always consider my channel to be an escapist route, right? Like, as somebody that likes to come home from work to do YouTube as a hobby, I like to leave the problems of the real world behind and just come to my internet little fantasy land, okay, where I can talk about video games, cybersecurity, and all that goofy stuff. Internet, shenanigans that happen, right? For me, talking about, retro video games, the industry, talking about things like, massive cybersecurity incidents, when North Korea is doing some crazy shit, intermixed with Johnny Somali being a total fucking idiot in Japan, which that's going to be a video, by the way, not him, just Japan. They're getting tired of IRL streamers. It's actually insane to go down that rabbit hole recently.
Oh, it's Joshua blocked us in Japan. Johnny Somali was like, what, last year?
Argentine president doing a crypto rug and, being a part of a crypto rug, so to speak. And the thing about it is, these videos do really well, but as somebody that witnesses the content, somebody that loves the engagement, right? Like, I love to read comment sections in videos. That is probably the best part of doing YouTube content creation, is reading the comment sections of what a video has to offer. The problem with covering videos like that is, generally speaking, when it comes to highly politicized figures, people like, Trump or Elon Musk, or really anybody in the space, I would go far as to say even videos on characters like Keffels, for instance. It makes the comment section completely useless. It really makes engaging with the content effectively the hardest thing to do. So what I mean by that is, let's say that you talk about somebody who does a crypto scam, right? You can bring up all the facts and the evidence and whatnot, but generally speaking, the topic of highly politicized figures, it ends up being a pissing match. It ends up turning comment sections into a turf war. Remember on deep web browsing, I would just say, hey, I don't want my comment section turning into a turf war when I come to a rather unsavory looking website, which, on the topic of deep web browsing, enjoy it tomorrow. I had to wait and edit the video out a little bit because I spoke to God. Long story there, which you'll get to see very soon. When you cover, topics that, are highly, I guess you could say controversial, or, topics like politics, where unfortunately the discussion of it has become almost like a team sports type of deal, where, you're either left, right, you're either for, against. Nobody really in this sphere wants to engage properly with the content, even with like political content, right? Like, researching a video that I've now scrapped. For anybody that wanted to know what the video was, it was doge.gov, a federal government website apparently, quote unquote, getting hacked. It was all over the news, and being somebody that talks about cybersecurity, I felt, yeah, this is up my wheelhouse. I don't engage with it in a politics sense. I don't really care. Because again, I'm a Canadian, not a fucking American, not really my neck of the woods. But, I wanted to talk about it because people were saying there was a serious hack. And I actually filmed the video. I went through showing what the hack was, which, by the way, was some real script kiddie nonsense, so to speak. And I thought it would be a funny, goofy video. But honestly, seeing the last few weeks when it comes to political content and just, talking about a political creator, as a side tangent almost, tangentially related to the main topic, nobody engages with the main topic. They always just turn the comment section into a massive, complete pissing match. And I know for core audiences that watch, that's not something that I think you want to see. That's not something I want to see. And as somebody that, you know, produces content for my core audience first, it's not a route that I think is worth going down into. And that's realistically, you know, where the crux of this video is. That's really what has to change. You know, I've noticed this happen with, you know, characters like Keffals, for instance, where, you know, a year ago, actually a year ago, I talked about this character and I basically looked at the misuse of, you know, $100,000. And in this entire story, you know, it really felt like nobody really wanted to even engage with the scam part of it. It really just became a culture war topic because, you know, Keffals is a trans person and that became the focal point of it. So really, after all of it, it just made me realize it's not worth talking about certain issues like this because nobody wants to engage with the fact that there was misuse of funds. It really just comes down to, hey, we have an enemy, this guy made a video, let's use it as ammunition, yada, 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 and so forth. And that's, in my opinion, not good. It's not good content to really be getting into. It's not really worth going down that road because the engagement for that isn't really centered around the actual discussion on the video topic itself. Which, again, when it comes to things like crypto scams, I like talking about crypto scams and whatnot. But the thing is, you can do a bunch of research into it, and the reality is, there's going to be people that ignore the entire meat of the video, which is researching into a crypto scam, and will find some way to excuse somebody that they've idolized in some cult-like fashion. And it's weird. It really is weird to see. Like talking about Doge.gov, how many people in that video will actually engage with it because of the hack itself, and then how much of the comment section is going to be just people arguing about what side is right and what side isn't. You know, as a content creator, the coolest thing is like when you see like 1,000 comments on a video, because I'm somebody that likes lurking internet forums and just reading internet discourse, right? Especially when it comes to topics I enjoy. So when you read 1,000 comments, you're like, all right, shit, let me line up and get ready, boys. Let me read that shit all day. And then the comment section aren't even really about, you know, the topic, the meat and potatoes. It's just about defending a guy who is the topic of the video, or tangentially related, or shitting on the guy. That's all it is. So realistically, that is what I really feel like has to be changed. And there's a whole lot of other slew of content that I have in the works that I'm making anyways. Obviously, you know, when it comes to the gaming industry, Xbox is something that I definitely want to talk about. And I've got some really interesting things to say, in my opinion, over there that involve Xbox, virtual machines, and a way for them to actually get out of some serious sales problems that they've had. I want to talk about, you know, agencies like North Korea. Crypto stuff is not something that I'm going to ignore. But I'd rather just, instead of talking about, you know, fun things, in my opinion, like a president doing or being a part of a rug pull, or at least promoting it, to talking about something like, you know, North Korea, which it really feels like if you want to have discussions on topics like this, the people you have to talk about must be unanimously like the most disliked people in the world. You know, it's funny, you can talk about crypto, and the moment you talk about somebody like Trump or whatever, it becomes a highly politicized topic. The moment you talk about Logan Paul, everyone suddenly gives a shit about what you have to say with cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies. It is, ladies and gentlemen, just the world in of itself. And I really think it's just how things have kind of gotten. Like looking at political content on the internet, one of the weirdest things that I've seen in research for the Doge.gov video was like, you know, seeing a whole bunch of like political creators talk about Elon getting like a girl pregnant or something. And I'm like, man, if this is like, it really felt like, you know, watching like, you know, the National Enquirer, like the tabloid journalism pages you saw when you're like checking out from the grocery store where the gum is put. They have like the little magazines that are like, hey, Martha Stewart just got impregnated by Bigfoot. We have photos of the kid, right? It's like, bro, the most insane batshit nonsense. It just exists as like culture war, warfare fodder. And it's not something I really want to engage with content going forward. So this video that I'm speaking from the heart here is mostly for the actual core viewership. And yeah, it is what it is. I think the core audience doesn't enjoy it, and I certainly don't enjoy watching, you know, entire videos with research and effort put into it completely thrown to the wayside, and the actual engagement with it just comes down to people using it as ammunition for a culture war that I am not even a part of. I'm not intelligent enough to be part of some cool political culture war, whether that be in the gaming sphere, which unfortunately there's a lot of that there. I'm not into it for the political side. There's a lot of content creators that I watch for gaming that, you know, recently all I see on their feeds is just Trump, 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 and like, you know, fucking this politician bad, this politician good, from every angle. And it's fucking exhausting. And to sort of see it bleed into my content and in some cases in my community is just something where I feel like I have to course correct and really personally step away from. But yeah, wanted to make this video, wanted to really talk about it, wanted to give an update, wanted to just speak my mind. But yeah, I'm going to go back to recording some of this game. I'm going to go back to hacking that PlayStation 3 and installing Linux onto it, because that is part of the video. I actually have found a backwards compatible PlayStation 3. Let me tell you something right now. I went to heaven and hell to find this thing. So that is going to be a video, I want to say sometime this week, in amongst a couple 4chan videos, because there's a wild group of wacky threads. There's a lot of content that has nothing to do with any political figure whatsoever, that hopefully is content that you all will enjoy. Some of the best content that I had in time making was the End of an Era video, where I talked about the AVGN and Silent Rob and characters that I was very passionate about from my early time on YouTube. It's a video that did pretty well, and it's those kind of videos that I genuinely want to make more of, because the audience really likes it, I really like it, and the best part is the comment sections to those videos always engage with the actual meat and potatoes of the video. That said, this is me, Mudahar, and I'm out.
You know what the worst thing about this is? Is that this isn't the same video.
Hello, Council. Remember me from last week? Oh, you don't remember me?
She was the one that was wearing the glitter on her face that was orange. And that she had like the same beard pattern that I did, kind of. I do remember you. How could I possibly forget?
Me from last week? Could it be because gender is a construct? I'm Anna. Been a Worcester resident for 24 years. Tonight, I'm coming to you as Laddie LaRouge, otherwise known as Lady LaRouge. Tonight, I'm Laddie. When I'm in drag, I use he, they pronouns. And I am a proud and loud queer artist in the city. I am a local burlesque and drag performer, producer, educator, and historian. And I'd like to ask the council and Mayor Petty why you've ghosted us, left us on red, have not responded to our emails asking for a formal apology.
Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Why could that possibly have happened? Who could have guessed?
Both to Councillor Nguyen and the whole queer community. Because by not doing so, you're sending a message not only to your constituents, but to the queer community as a whole and every visitor that comes to the city that I used to be proud to call home. Not so.
Can somebody tell me, like, I don't know, maybe I'm starting drama. What's the difference between gay and queer? I think queer is a construct, not sure. Social politics, depiction of sexuality that rejects normative definitions of appropriate feminine and masculine sexual behavior. More contemporary meanings of queer have been picked up and used by activists and academics to mark movements within sexual identity politics, theoretical. Queer, however, is a contested term. Scholars and activists constantly disagree on what it means and how it should be used. Yeah, because like back whenever I was growing up, queer was almost like a pejorative borderline slur that people would use towards being gay. And then I started seeing them using the word, and I'm thinking to myself, wait, what? Don't overthink it. But you can see what I'm saying, right? It's confusing.
So much this past few weeks. Worcester is home to world-renowned stages, the Hanover Theater, Tuckerman Hall, Mechanics Hall, who host touring artists from around the world. I know if I were a trans or non-binary actor on a Broadway tour who's coming to this city this year, I would not feel safe coming to Worcester.
Uh-oh.
With the rhetoric that's been allowed to fly in these chambers, I wouldn't feel safe We need a public apology now.
Wow.
Get on it. Speaking of getting on it, I'd like to speak in support of item 8I that you, council, request that you, city manager Batista, commit and act on creating an LGBTI coalition and task force to address issues of queerphobia, specifically transophobia, as you like to say, Joe Petty. And
so they want the government to like set up a new coalition just to advocate for like what they want. I mean, I feel like that's definitely not like a task force.
I feel like people misuse that word because phobia means you're afraid of something. Homophobia, transphobia, that means you're afraid of them. Like, I feel like it's the proper word should be bigoted, right? Right? Like, that should be the proper word. Because, like, we're not afraid of okay, let's put this straight here. I'm not afraid of gay people, and they can do whatever they want type of deal. Just, like, maybe people who just, like, don't support that are, like, bigoted. I don't know, like, I feel the phobia words are misused here because, like, phobia is like a fear of something. I'm pretty sure most people are not afraid of gay people. Like, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, just the
like
the use of that word.
Like, what is this? This is crazy. Like, how did these people do this and not realize how alienating this is to average people? Like, I really feel like this is it's I think the biggest shock to me with looking at something like this is the fact that people that do it seem to have no self-awareness of how alienating it is.
Any other biphobias, xenophobias, and other bigotry that have been displayed by members of this cabinet. My ask is that this task force addresses the discrimination and issues in this council first and then expands to the greater Worcester community. Speaking of, I'd also like to support item 8J, asking for...
So this is how we got all those extra government employees, is people like this, not necessarily gay people, but people that we need a task force for everything. You need to have more people and expand the space. You know what? I bet if you do this for 40 years, you have the situation that we have. Yep. It's a Karen government.
$500,000 in funding to go to the queer community via a Queer and Trans Alliance Fund dedicated to addressing the needs of the LGBTQIA community. Here's a tip. Open your ears. Here's a tip. Open.
Oh, God. Is this like, I think about like Pokemon, right? And I think about like, is the next evolution of this like one of these people that has an absolute fucking meltdown at Starbucks over like the spelling of their name on the cup? Like, I feel like that's the next evolution of this person.
LGBTQIA community. Here's a tip. Open your ears. Here's a tip. Open your ears and listen. Stop talking over me, Joe. And apply the notes that we're giving you. Once again, I'll thank you when you make a formal apology.
It is really, this has to be satire, right? Oh my God, bro.
What, that's it? I thought he was gonna yap way longer. It's like a 5-minute video. Well, I'm ready for it to not drop again. 1% item. I'd probably get the AV dagger way before this would drop. Yeah, I'm just gonna do one. I'm not in the mood to spam this. It's like 10:30. Probably do a little bit of cleaning up and go to bed. How long did that take me? Yeah, a little over an hour to like form the group. I'll get there, form the group, and wait for the people to get here. Probably do this tomorrow.